Hello, everybody. So good to see all of you, and welcome back to my channel. This is Nicole. I am Nicole, and this is Pixel Maven's Retreat, and we are running with scissors today. It is Thursday, and every Thursday for the last year, we have been running with scissors, having fun with paper and ink, and I am so glad to see you. Now, if you are on Facebook, welcome. I am actually restreaming today, so I am on both YouTube and on Facebook. So if you are new out there, please do pop in and say hello. Tell us where you're from and what kind of crafty project you might be working on today. I see all of my regulars over on YouTube starting to pop in, so don't forget to hit on that like button and let everyone know that you are enjoying our broadcast today. And also feel free to share this out to any groups that you belong to on Facebook or anywhere else out on social media, so that people can go ahead and join us and say hello and have some fun crafting with us. So, so nice to see you, Sue. Welcome from Facebook. And I see, like I said, I see all sorts of people, all my normals from YouTube. So glad that you guys are out there. And I'm so glad that this whole rig is working. It's fabulous. I'm so glad to be able to stream on both channels at the same time. Too fun. Okay, so let's see. We have got a lot of fun stuff going on this month. Welcome to June. And I hope you all had a wonderful holiday weekend. If you're in the United States, we just celebrated Memorial Day and had a little extra day off. And surprisingly, the weather was amazing here in Nebraska. We did not get the rain we were supposed to. We instead had a gorgeous weekend, and I golfed all weekend. Did I play well? Not really. But it was really nice to be out and enjoying the weather. Okay, so this month we are mixing and matching all of the stamp sets that we've used since January. So it's a mix and match month, and we're going to have some really fun projects. And before we get started, though, we're going to go through all of our normal announcements and giveaways and all that kind of stuff. We did just close out May, so we have some giveaways today. So hey, let's take a look at all of that. All right, so first let's go through all of our announcements. Of course, I just shared with you that today is a mix and match day. So we're going to be pulling out some of the stamp sets from earlier in the year and having fun with them all over again. And of course, I always appreciate you using my affiliate links. If you're on YouTube, those links and all of the products are separately listed out in the description. If you're on Facebook, there is a link to the products and in the description of today's video. So you can use those links, and when you do, I might receive a small commission when you check out, and that's at no additional cost to you. And that is a really great way to support crafters in the community that do live streaming and other kinds of sharing with you on social media techniques and tutorial videos and all that good stuff. It's a really easy way to support all of the crafters that you love. All right, so there is that. Let's see what next. Oh, so one last thing. There is a new survey I shared with some of my regulars that have been coming to my virtual workshops that I was going to have a new survey. So there is a link in the comments, and yes, you should see it also in the YouTube comments and the Facebook comments. They're both right there. So if you scroll up all the way to the top of the comments, you will see a link to the survey. Please do take that. I would appreciate your feedback. It's very kind of quick. It's actually only like a couple of questions, but one question is like 20 choices long. So I hope it's not too bad for you guys. It shouldn't be. And it's going to provide me with a lot of really great information for a project that I'm working on that I am so excited about. So you're going to hear more about that. And as you go through the survey, there will be an opportunity for you to provide me with your email. So if you want to hear more about that exciting adventure, I can share that with you via email. All right, so those are our announcements. Let's look at some cards to share. So every week, I encourage you to case the cards that I'm creating or to be inspired by the cards that I'm creating and do a riff on your own and share it out on social media and to tag me, Pixel Maven's Retreat. And I have a couple to share today. Well, actually just this one here. So we have cards by Anne, which is our wonderful Ann Taylor. She created this absolutely gorgeous riff on last week's card. She decided to go for the straight up A2 size, and it is just gorgeous. I really, 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 really love this. The colors turned out really nice. Your stamping is amazing. I love, of course, the gold on there, and then she added in some sequins, which is totally awesome. Let's see what she's got here. Oh, and then like a little side view for some bling action. So yes, totally love this, Anne. I think you did an amazing job on this. Okay, and so then while she was at it, Anne has been following along with my newsletter, and I just finished up a series about color and swatching, and she just finished swatching all of her cardstock. So she thought she would share to say, hey, I did it, which congratulations, you are getting some of your stuff organized, which is fantastic. And of course, sharing with others to inspire them to swatch their cardstock too. So fantastic. I love it. So yeah, Sue, you're going to have to catch the replay from last week. Teresa, we're so glad to have you here again. And I see that you had a little get together with some family members, which is fantastic. It's awesome that we are able to get together with family and friends again. All right. So this is Anne's swatches, and I wanted to share with you guys. I need to flip around some screens here. Something about my swatches in a minute. So we're going to go back to swatching in a minute, but let's do some winner chicken dinner. So we have our monthly case challenge, and Anne and Penny were my winners from the case challenge. So they provided, they shared so much last month, excuse me. Penny was just crazy inspired with all of the projects that we did last month. And she shared a whole ton. So I encourage you to follow her on Instagram. I should put her handle out there so you guys can follow her. So she will get some more followers. She's doing some great work and really sharing a lot with us. And I am being really inspired. So that inspires me right back. So thank you for sharing, Penny. I will have more cards sent your way. And same with you, Anne. Thank you always for sharing all of your projects. And I've got some cards that are going to go in the mail right to you. And ladies, you don't have to worry about emailing me. I already have your addresses, and I will pop those in the mail actually tomorrow. Okay. So also we just wrapped up the May Sketch Starter Challenge, and that is over on my blog. That is in conjunction with Altenew as a part of my video series with them. So that is the Sketch Starter Challenge, and I had two winners this month. So we had Penny and Joni. And ladies, I think I have both of your email addresses, but do email me just to make sure that I've got the right one, and I will send that information over to Altenew, and you will both receive a $15 Altenew gift certificate. So thank you for participating in our Sketch Starter Challenge. Next month will probably be our last challenge because it will be my last month as a design team member with Altenew. All right, so hey, let's talk about some swatches. Okay, so, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I feel like I'm far away. Hey, there we go. Okay, so I am so excited. I finally finished, well, over the weekend, I finished my Tim Holtz swatches. So I have all of my crayons are swatched, all of my oxides and inks are swatched, and I don't have the full set of inks. I do have almost a full set of oxides. And then I have a whole bunch of distress sprays and some distress stains. So I got all of those swatched, and I wanted to share with you guys a couple of things regarding swatching and that kind of stuff. So see, here are all of my distress oxides. And what I decided to do is put that oxide all the way across, and then I covered half of it and did some water spattering on it. So that way I would see what it looks like when it gets wet. Because sometimes you don't get the result that you might expect. Like you see how Rustic Wilderness, it kind of has like a green color in there. Sometimes it's a little more subtle, like on Salvage Patina. I didn't get as much of a difference on that. And then like Broken China, it's still just kind of like a blue on blue. So some of them sometimes don't get as drastic as you think they might. So it's kind of nice to go through and do this kind of spattering on part of it, so that way you can see what it looks like when you apply a distress look to it. All right, so the other thing I wanted to share with you, so I did that same thing on my distress inks. And as you can see with the inks, you get a big difference usually when you're putting water on that, because that water-based ink just likes to spot out and really it does some really, really cool effects. All right. So I only did it on half, so I had like a nice side to really compare the color as well. All right. So, but you see what's going on here? Like these are my distress inks, and they're kind of wonky and a little bit bent and things like that because they got completely saturated with ink when I did the swatch, right? But look at my oxides. They're nice and tight and flat, and they stack really well and everything. Well, so what I've been doing is once I finish a stack of cards, I take them and just put them down and put something heavy on top of them like overnight. So I take my stack of my catalog here and I just put that right on top and I let it sit, and then they get nice and flat. So as you are working on your ink swatches, if they're looking a little wonky like this, just go ahead and put them in a pile and put something heavy on them to make them flat, and they will work out really well. Okay, so Teresa says this is a lot of work. Now, yes and no. So let me show you what I was doing. So previously, I was stamping out this really cool thing from Waffle Flower, and then I had to stamp all of the individual bits here, the mass tone, and then this little side here, and then the stamped off side here. And then I was trying to do some color blending things as I came up with great ideas. So like here's a broken china, same thing, you know, the mass tone, this side, doing some like testing with transparency and staining and all that kind of stuff. And then the same thing, like I would take the ink and then do it as a watercolor as well. So these were much more labor intensive. And here's the difference too. So look at how much color I have here. Look at how much color I have here. What I like about doing my swatches this way is that they are easy. These, I'm just swiping the ink across until I get a solid color. I'm doing my labels on the computer, so that way if the swatch doesn't turn out, I can toss it and try again before I put the label on it. I don't have to worry about my handwriting messing something up or whatever. I'm not bothering with transparency or staining or anything like that. I just simply want the color for these, so that way I can do my color matching. And this takes me so much less time. Like to do these probably took me maybe 2 hours instead of like hours and hours and hours to do them this way. So yeah, I did all of this work with all of these colors, and I'm not going to use them because I prefer this way. So lesson learned from me, and a cautionary tale to you. If you're thinking about getting into swatching, just do this. This works so well. And let me show you what I'm really excited about because of that. So because I have these huge swatches, I can go ahead and take my color wheel, and let's say I want to do a triadic combo. I want to do red, violet, blue, green, and yellow, orange. Okay, so I'm going to come into my little catalog here, and I'm going to pull out yellow, orange, and I'm going to pull out blue, green, and I like to just kind of flip my little markers in here. And then I want to pull out red, violet. All right. So what I'm done is I have not only my cardstock. Okay, so I've got my cardstocks in here. I have my specialty papers in here. I have my glitter papers in here. I have my ink sprays in here. And then I'm going to add in my stamps that I've been working on, or my ink pads. But I've got like metallic sprays, my other sprays in here. All that stuff, right? So now I know everything currently, even look at that, my antique gold ink sprays in here. So now I have everything that is currently yellow-orange in my studio is in this catalog. Everything that is blue-green is in this catalog. Everything that is red-violet is in this catalog. So now I have all of these possibilities to come up with amazing color combinations. So let's say I'm going to do something with this tonic honey gold. And then I want to pull out, well, probably just a plain paper. Let's do like Altenew's rose quartz. And then I might do something where I've done, where maybe I want to add in the distress spray stain with speckled egg, but maybe I want to do You know, I'm going to do some Concord and Ninth Aqua Sky underneath that and then spray it with Speckled Egg or something. I don't know. But look, I've got everything right here. I don't have to go, you know, thumb through all of my inks to find something that's going to match. I don't have to go thumb through all of my paper or all of my watercolors or anything. It's all right here. And I really think that it's going to help me use what's in my craft room. You know, oh, I totally forgot about this Peacock Feathers Distress Spray Stain. That might look really cool, right? So that's the idea. If I have it all together and I can refer to it all at the same time, I'm going to use it. So Teresa wants to know how I got my tabs. Okay, so let me show you how I did it. Because it's actually quite simple. And then, yeah, so let me put these guys away. So red, violet, and yellow, orange, and blue, green. So these guys here are all broken up by the color wheel colors. All right, so I just went through the color wheel. I made these little tabs with just some leftover plastic-y stuff that I had. You could use paper, it doesn't matter. And then I have a label on there. So red, red, orange, orange, yellow, orange, etc. Go all the way through. And then at the back here, I have brown and gray. And even in my grays, I've got my blacks, my silvers. All right, if it's gray, it's in there, or a derivative of. That's why, like in the yellows, you saw golds. So if it's more of a warm gold, it's going under yellow, orange. If it's more of a cold gold, it's going under, or kind of a medium gold, it's going under yellow. And if it's a cold gold, it's going under yellow, green. All right, so you see, like, this is a really cold gold. That really goes well under the yellow, green. This one, kind of iffy, I'm not sure. It could go either way. All right, so that's that. Let me show you. So here's like what the cards look like. And just show you. So I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. So you totally don't have to do this. I like having this little rounded edge and this little decorative edge here. That's just like a little thing that I like to do. You don't have to do it. You can just make them square. All right. So on my envelope punch board, these are like 3.5 inches, but you know, whatever this length of scrap paper is. So on the envelope punch, if you use the envelope side, you get this nice little swoop. And then on the back side, I get the corner rounder. So that's how I am making those tab looking cards. And that's it. So if you want to, you can do this. You don't have to. It's totally optional. Totally. And that's it. All right. So I just wanted to share with you guys a little bit of my journey with color. I'm excited to, well, first to get these guys flattened and then to get the rest of them into my card file here. And then I'll move on to my next set of inks that I have to work on. At this point, I'm down to Copic markers and alcohol markers, my watercolors, and I've still got all of my Altenew inks to do. Oh my goodness. Crazy. All right. So that's that. Oh, what about the acrylic holder? This is from Amazon. I don't think I have it in the list down below. I will pop it in there later. And Teresa, if you look for, look on my YouTube channel for some of the color videos that I've put out recently, and I do have this holder out there. All right, it's like just the perfect size. It makes these cards are 3.5 by 2.5. It's super nice to just file through. Really good. All right. That's that. Okay, so let's talk about card making today. Okay. We have got, so the 5 sets that we're working from this month are Concord and Ninth Just Because, Concord and Ninth Painted Petal Turnabout stamp set, which we just finished using. We've got Layered Cupcake. We've got Positive Vibes and Floral Sprig from Altenew. So we're going to use today Positive Vibes and Floral Sprig. So I will move the rest of those out of the way. Okay. And this month I wanted to explore using, oops, not this, using white pigment ink. Now today I will, oh no, I don't want to use this one. I don't know where my other one is. Let me grab it. So these are the two that I have. The Hero Hues Unicorn, it's fabulous. And the scrapbook.com white, which is also equally fabulous. They both dry pretty quick, and they also stay pretty white, which is like a big requirement when you are using white ink. Like, you want it to stay white. So today's card, as you saw in the preview, here it is. And we are going to jump right into this. So what I love about this is I've got just some really simple Copic coloring on the flower here, and then the rest is black and white. Super gorgeous. Okay. No other embellishment on here, no sequins, nothing. It doesn't need it. Okay. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the background here, so it does have just a minute or two to dry, and you'll see how these two stamp sets come together. So I'm going to start with Positive Vibes. And we're going to use, which one did I use? We're going to use this stamp right here. It's one of the layering stamps as a part of this set. And so you can see how that's supposed to look. It's the second layer right here. Okay. All right. So that and that and that. I'm going to just pop this on a block. It doesn't need to be on my MISTI. Actually, it's easier to be on a block than a MISTI because you don't have to worry about moving it around all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to use the scrapbook.com today because we're going to do that circle. All right, so this is a pigment ink, which means that the color generally sits on top of the paper. So I'm going to ink that up pretty good. And then just start stamping and go all the way around. Technically, I don't need to fill in the center because we're going to do the swirl. But I'm going to. And I just kind of move and adjust my stamp as I need to fit into this space. So it fits pretty well as a puzzle. And they're just kind of like, you know, falling petals. And if I need to, like, I want to add a little bit into this corner here, I'm just going to get a little bit inked up and pop it in there. Right, and then I just need a little bit here. So I'll ink up the back side and just pop that in place. All right, so now that I've got this done, I can take a look at it and say, oh, I want just a little bit of something here on the corner. Just kiss it there. And then maybe a little bit right here. There. Now I feel like that's sufficiently covered. All right. Oops, I need a second here. Let me clean up my space. All right, so the pigment inks clean up with just water. So this is just a wet microfiber towel. And this will go right back on here. If you're just joining us, I would love for you to give today's video a thumbs up or a like, and feel free to share me out on social media to any groups that you might belong to. So let's move on to the little swirl here. Okay, so this is super easy, and this always gets a big wow. So I'm just going to take my round my oval ink pad here. And this will actually work with the square ink pad. You will still get a circle with this. But I just felt like using the round one instead. I'm going to pop this kind of right here, and I'm going to twist it around 180 degrees. And now I have a circle. If I'm not crazy about the shape of it, I can just do a little more twisting and just kind of get it looking the way I want it to. Like so. And that's it. I mean, it's so easy to make this really cool kind of swirly circle shape on here. So I want this to set aside and dry for a minute or two, so that way when we stamp the black on here, it doesn't like absorb into the white as much. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside and we're going to do some stamping. We're done with positive vibes for today. And I'm going to be using my Memento Tuxedo Black to stamp the Floral Sprig with, because I'm going to be using my Copic markers. So remember, when you're using an alcohol marker, you want to use either a hybrid or a water-based ink to stamp your lines. So this is a water-based ink. Memento is a water-based ink. You can use Altenew's permanent black. You can use any hybrid ink out there. Those usually work really well with alcohol inks. But Memento is like the OG black ink for alcohol markers. Oh, Sue thought I was going to do a reverse mask. Nope, it's even easier than a reverse mask. I don't even have to worry about getting a stencil dirty or anything. And it's nice and organic. It's a super cool look. Yeah, Teresa, you've been around for a minute. Memento, man, you've had this like forever in your arsenal, right? Oh my goodness. It was like the only choice that we had forever if you were going to use Copic markers. You had to use Memento. Memento comes in hundreds, well, not hundreds, but a lot of different colors. So you can use any Memento color to do your outlines for Copic coloring. You don't have to just use black. Technically, you could even use like any of your, like if you're Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, technically you could use, or Stampin' Up! User, you can use any of their Stampin' Up! Inks. You can use any Altenew ink. They're all water-based inks, so they will actually work with Copic markers without any problem. So you really don't need to have anything super special. Just any water-based ink will do. All right, so today I have two colors. I'm only using two colors of Copic. I've got RV10 and G20. So let's zoom in. Some coloring. This is super simple coloring. Yeah, Teresa, I have the Memento cubes as well. I think the black is the only one that I have that's not in a cube. All right, so we're using RV10 and G20. So pale pink and wax white. These are probably colors you maybe you don't use them very often. Especially wax white. I don't think a lot of people use these. It's a super light color. So all I want to do is get a whisper of color. So you can see these guys here. Look at how much white is on there. So it's just a whisper of color on the leaves and the stem, and a whisper of color on the flowers. Super easy. So I'm just going to come in and do some quick little flick strokes where it would be darker. And that's it. It makes this super simple. It's a very easy way to do Copic coloring and add some color to your project. And it's a little bit, you know, like it's popular right now to do projects that have just the outlined florals. So just the plain black and white here. It's a nice way to add just that hint of color, a little more depth than just the plain black and white look. All right, so just those quick little flick strokes. That's all I needed. That's it. This is such a light color that you don't have to worry about blending into the white. It just blends in on its own. All right, so same thing with our pale pink here. These I'm going to go for just the individual petals. You want to get these ones in the back here because that's what's going to add some dimension, to have that little bits of pink showing through in the darker crevices. And don't forget this little bit here. Go. So if you want to do some Copic coloring, but you're not really feeling like your skill is super great, this is a great way to break into that. If you want to do Copic coloring and you just don't have the time, this is another great time-saving technique to just do something super light like this. And that's it. I mean, look at that. That is all we needed to do to add that nice little hint of color on there. Ta-da! All right. Let us zoom out. One more. There we go. All right, so I'm going to die cut this guy. I'm just using my little mini blossom today. If I can fit it through my mini blossom and I'm just sitting here working on something, I pull this out all the time. I do have my Gemini Junior, and it's nice to use. Sometimes you have to use it because it's your pieces are too large for a small die cut machine like this. But if I'm just doing little pieces, I just grab for the mini blossom and just whip them through. Not difficult, especially for an outline piece like this. So I hope you all had a wonderful weekend, and we're already at Thursday. So here comes another weekend, our first weekend in June. My husband and I need to start pulling out stuff for the annual subdivision garage sale. Always finding things that we can sell, and then whatever we don't sell, we donate. So that always works out pretty well. It helps us clean our house out on an annual basis. It works pretty good. All right. So we've got a little bit of that planned for this weekend. Okay, so I've got my card base. Pop that down. And the crowd has gone silent. I think you guys are all taking a Thursday nap. All right, so I've got my card base. I've got my piece here. Let's get our sentiment on here. And before we glue anything down and commit to perfection, right? Because if we have to, we could always flip this over and start again if we mess up on our sentiment. Hopefully we will not. Okay. So there is my magnet, and I'm going to pull a sentiment from the Floral Sprig. And I used the hello, but if I wanted to, I could do hi or you are amazing. Let's do you are amazing on this one. All right, so I'm going to put my sprig on here just to mark where it's going to go eventually. So that way I can get my sentiment down. So this might get a slightly different placement than what I had on my previous project on the sample. But I think that's going to work out really well. So let's grab that. All right, and for the sentiment, I'm going to use the VersaFine Clair. Now, why VersaFine Clair over the Memento? Because this is another pigment ink. This is oil-based pigment ink. It's going to lay on top of the white. If I use the Memento, it's actually going to start breaking up the white as if it was like a watercolor, and it would probably spread and not look so great. So the key to a nice crisp sentiment on this, I mean, look at how crisp that sentiment is on there. It looks like the white doesn't even exist, right? It looks like the hello was on a stencil or a mask or something like that, and then you put the white over it, which is a pretty cool effect. And I achieved that by using the VersaFine Clair pigment ink. Okay, so I got this nice and put in place, and I'm going to go ahead and do my sentiment. So it might need, if your ink pad is not super juicy, or you just kind of feel like the chalkiness is coming through a little bit, you might need to stamp it twice, and that's okay. Oh, Teresa, I know, right? I feel like a chemist sometimes, like having to know all these properties of ink and just knowing how they're going to play together. But yeah, give it a try and see what happens if you put a water-based ink on here, if you get as crisp a result as that, because that looks really amazing, right? So I just try to think about it like really there's just two things you need to worry about. Like we know that alcohol and water don't really mix. So when you're using alcohol markers, you should use a water-based ink to color with, right? So you're going to do your outline in water-based, and then you're going to color in alcohol markers. So then also this pigment ink is an oil-based pigment ink. It says, does it say on the back here? Blah, blah, blah. I don't think it says on here that it's an oil-based pigment ink, but it is. I know that from my time working with Imagine Crafts. So this is an oil-based pigment ink, and we also know that oil and water don't mix. So it's a good idea to kind of do that together so you don't have to worry about water and water. So if you think about it like, oh, Memento is water-based, this pigment ink is water-based, I probably shouldn't stamp them on top of each other because they're probably going to spread. So that is just kind of how my brain works with that. And how do you know if it's water-based? Add water to it. So take your pigment ink and put it on a block or a palette or something and add water to it. And if it mixes well, then it's water-based. If it clumps, then it's not water-based. All right. So there you go. There's your science lesson for today. And no, you don't get college credit for this class. All right, so let's, this is actually still kind of drying, but I will be careful about it because this card is like done. La finito. Super simple, right? So you get to pull out these stamp sets that we played with earlier this year and have some more fun with them. So pop this right in place. There we go. And then with my Floral Sprig, I'm going to go ahead and just use some foam adhesive dots and pop it up. Every time I think I have finished all of my Stampin' Up! Adhesive bits, what do they call them? Dimensionals. I find more. So I found these the other day. I was like, oh, I don't know where this came from. But you know, if they're a hexagon shape, they came from Stampin' Up! All right. So I like to support the stem. So I make sure that I get a couple on here as well. And that's where these little edge pieces always work out well. And then I want to grab a couple of these extras here. And pop them on these leaves that extend out. So they have a little bit of support. Support, support, support. All right. Well, as we are finishing up this project, I hope you guys enjoyed today's project. A little look at my swatch progress and checking out all the work that all of our friends are doing. Let's just pop this guy. See, and we put it down first, so I knew exactly where it was going to go. I can adjust just a hair if I want to now, which I think I'm going to do. There we go. And that's it. I'll give you a little close up here. Super fun. So we did this in probably like, what, 20 minutes? So super easy project. And you could even change up the colors if you're not crazy about the black. You can do another dark color, like a dark navy blue, even a dark pink would be really cool. All sorts of different dark colors that you could put behind and still do the white chalk ink technique. It would look really, really fabulous. So especially the birthday one, I think if you did this in like a hot pink with the white flowers and then the circle, that would be really, really cool. So there you go, guys. Teresa, I definitely think that you should try the swatches. You know what I find is that if I want to do something creative, but I don't feel like tackling a project, working on swatches is a great way to feel like you've got something accomplished. And it's crafty, but it's not really brain intensive. So that's a good thing. Anyway, I think you should give it a try. So there you go, guys. A project for this weekend. If you are inspired by today's project and you want to go ahead and case it, please do case it away and share it out on social media. Use the tags to tag me, Pixel Maven's Retreat, and I will find it and share it next week on our next live broadcast during our live streams. And you could get some free cards from me. So it's always worth sharing your projects that you are inspired by. So you can case it or you can be inspired by it. So say you were inspired by just like the circle idea or the stamping the white on the dark color, but you use a different flower, you do a different arrangement or whatever, that all counts. So go ahead and tag me and I will share that at next week's broadcast. So I hope you guys had a great time with me today. I enjoy always spending time with you guys each week. Next week, we'll have another mix and match project. We will be using, I don't remember. Oh, we'll be mixing and matching Concordonite and Altenew. So that is going to be super fun. We're also still going to be using our white inks. So I will give you another idea for white ink and we'll have a good time. So, oh, and some more Copic coloring. So I kind of carry that into next week. So that way we could kind of have two ideas with some similar concepts. So anyway, guys, I was so glad. Did I use Word for the labels? Oh, so let me answer a couple more questions here. So did I use Word for the labels? Yes, I did. The labels that I have are the return address labels, and they work out great. So, because you can fit like 60 of them on a sheet and it works out really nice. So give that a try. If you do some swatching, do share that on social media too. And I would love to share it just like I shared Anne's this week. People can get inspired by your organization. So again, I had such a great time with you guys today and I hope you have a fabulous weekend. You get some time to craft or organize or craft and organize and enjoy the weather wherever you are. And just have a wonderful time. So I will see you next week. Happy crafting, guys.